everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order as we stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to start the meeting off with our first opportunity for citizens to address the board. Do we have any citizens that would like to make a comment to the board? All right, seeing none, we will move on to celebrations. Adam.
All right, well, there's a few different celebrations. So good evening, board members. I would like to begin with two video clips, recent local media publications on our mental health and school safety initiatives. So I think we have those queued up, and go ahead and play them. And the sound worked in rehearsal.
Yep, my senior year.
Meet Williamston High School senior Anna Koss.
I've never had a moment here where I've thought, oh, I wish I didn't go here.
A great learning environment, but not without the usual high school hurdles.
So I think a lot of students deal here, myself included, with anxiety. I think everyone gets nervous when it comes to school. Our classes can be tough, friends, high school kids, they go through friendships and relationships.
For a teenager, it can be mentally overwhelming.
This is our new calm room. This is new to us this school year.
Williamston High School social worker Kate Wilcox says the calm room is a place for students to relax and decompress.
We just see more and more students struggling with anxiety, struggling with depression, feeling isolated.
Instead of just reacting to those feelings, Kate Wilcox says Williamston High School has taken a proactive approach to student mental health.
And really reducing the stigma that surrounds talking about mental health.
Enter Jenny Metzmaker, founder of the group Positive Somebody.
If you empower children to take control of their lives, they will be successful if you give them the proper tools. These are a little bit newer.
One of the tools Jenny has developed, the Positive Pack, which includes a journal.
It's really hard to get started with journal writing, so we do have like journal activities, journal prompts.
There's a Breathe Stone.
And our Breathe Stone card, and they really like this.
Positive words on a card and on a bracelet.
Never, never give up.
The Positive Pack also includes advice about sleep and nutrition, plus nerve-calming fidgets.
This is our hottest item. This is a zipper bracelet. A lot of the students love this because it's a fidget that you can take with you.
Jenny says right now these Positive Packs are in 30 schools across the state. And thanks to grant funding and donations, she's on track to donate 10,000 more this school year.
I really want to, pay it forward.
Her passion comes from a place of pain. The daughter of an alcoholic father and a mother who took her own life when Jenny was just 15.
So really it's me wanting to reach children like myself, but also maybe a mom like my mom. If she was given the right resources and tools, maybe she could have found, the right mental health resources she needed.
I think it's fantastic to be able to put those resources and those materials in students' hands.
Positive Packs, a calming room, and Williamston High School's Be Nice program, focused on suicide and bullying prevention. It's a student-run program led by Anna Koss.
I think that in order for kids to get the help they need to have resources given to them, because a lot of kids are too scared to reach out for help.
You will have success if you have the proper tools and resources.
We really work on how can we make sure everyone is connected to the supports that they need.
Everyone needs to be reminded that you're not alone.
Also new to Williamston High School this year, a new cell phone policy. During class, they have to be turned off and out of sight. And if you or someone you know is struggling with your mental health, we have a list of resources available on our website, WILX.com.
It's a work in progress, but
think we got one more.
Students can face a range of emotions in school. To help them cope, Williamston High School used grant money to create a calm room.
News 10's Taylor Gattoni took a look inside to see how it's benefiting students and their mental health.
It's very intentional.
Instead of wandering the halls to take a break,
We want the students to be invested and see themselves in this space.
this new space is Williamston High School's calm room.
We knew we wanted it cozy, more like being at home where we can feel safe and grounded.
Heather Lewis provides wellness to students across all Williamston schools. She's one of the many people at the school who knows the importance of taking care of your mental health.
We wanted to offer a lot of choice and a lot of experimentation for people to find what works for them.
She included student input to design the calm room, like student art and comfy couches.
Sometimes I'll sit on the couch that's right over there.
The room is already helping students like Peyton Graham, a junior at Williamston High School.
The classroom can be overstimulating and really distracting for me.
Technology is another big distraction in schools, which is why the calm room is a technology-free zone.
Although it can connect us in some ways, it can disconnect us and cause us a lot of stress and anxiety.
Students enter the calm room so that they have a safe space to feel any type of emotion. That way, when they exit the room, they can push past their comfort zone.
Compared to when I entered, I feel like more relaxed and like I can go to class and actually focus on my work.
Helping students focus on their schoolwork so they can keep learning in class. In Williamston, Taylor Gattoni, News 10.
And students can schedule routine calm room breaks into their day. For further support, the social worker's office is right across the hall.
And students also have the opportunity to come up with a new name for the calm room.
Lots of summer sunshine at...
It's a work.
So I will say I'm usually pretty critical in terms of how the media covers schools. Typically it's something controversial, culture war issue, or sports. But WILX, I do want to commend them. I thought both reports were very well done and actually talking about, I think reflects the hard work that our staff has done on those initiatives, but also I thought brought to light how it's positively impacting students. And so I appreciated their work on both those stories, as well as Kate Wilcox and Heather Lewis taking the lead on those interviews and doing a fantastic job. On a similar note, Be Nice Spirit Week was a couple weeks ago, and I know you're familiar with that, but one thing I would like to mention is how that initiative has grown over the last many years. I know we hit a bit of a roadblock with the couple COVID years we had, but it has really picked up a lot of momentum, and I think at the high school this year we had 40 students on the Be Nice crew. When we started that, we had 5 maybe, and the t-shirts were selling out, that week, Be Nice shirts. So it's really come a long way, and I think it is starting to become ingrained in the culture. I wouldn't say it's not done. We have a long way to go to keep that moving forward, but it has come a long, long way, and I think it's starting to just become something that's expected and an integral part of that process at our middle and high school. And it's also just kind of cool to see how it's permeated down into the elementary. So there's no Be Nice program down there, but those students kind of understand what that philosophy is, and having the high school kids go down there to interact with the elementary students is a huge thing, and makes a big, big difference. And again, it's not about the athletes or athletics, but a lot of those little kids are at football games on Friday nights, and they see the varsity team coming down wearing the Be Nice jerseys, representing what that positive culture and how those interpersonal connections are, what those look like. And I think that makes a big difference, and will continue to pay dividends as those elementary students move into the secondary down the road. Last celebration this evening, and I know the board's familiar with this, and Brandon Weingart's already presented on this, but we have now officially completed a project that started back in 2018, which was replacing our traditional active water fountains with filtered bottle fillers. So those include and don't ask me what this stands for, but the NSF ANSI 53 and 42 filters for particulate and lead filtration. We do have other water filters that you can see, but they're shut off and they won't be turned back on. particularly in some of our elementary classrooms. So the practical change is that obviously staff and students now have access to those filtered bottle fillers at all locations in the district. They do need to bring water bottles with them to school, so that's been a bit of a change. But this has been gradually been implemented over the last, I would say, 6 to 7 years. And we finally finished that initiative last month, or actually this month. So I do want to, in particular, recognize Brent Tingley and Trent Hall from our maintenance department. They were really the leads on that. They've been the leads on a lot of significant initiatives, including installing all the night lock barriers a couple years ago. So those two gentlemen do the work of several more people, and I wanted to make sure I recognize them in particular for accomplishing that goal. Those are celebrations for this evening, pending any questions.
Any questions for Adam? At some point, could we, like the video said with the column, that's going to be ever evolving and changing. At some point, I don't have a timeline or anything, can we get an update on how that's going from Heather or from Kate Wilcox?
Yeah, I'm sure at some point this year we'll have some members of our mental health team come in here to update the board. I don't have like the latest statistic as of today. I knew within the first 8 days of the school year, they had documented 45 visits to the comm room. Now, I don't know how that's progressed since then, but within the first 8 days, we had 45 visits. So I think it is indicating there's a need there. And I think, again, just like Be Nice, is that kind of filters through the student culture, and they understand there's this place to go where I can chill out, take a break, and then go back to class. No stigma involved, no judgment, it's just a place to go. If you need more help, those routes are there as well, but if you just need a place to pause and reset, that's perfectly fine and acceptable to be there. So I think we're just going to see more and more utilization of that as time goes by. But yes, I do think there'll be an update later this year. We can get some more data on that.
Anything else? Education update?
None for
No,
this
I'm
evening.
sorry, superintendent report.
Superintendent reports, upcoming items. We have a regular board meetings on the 7th and 21st of October. Still building out the agendas for those. There is a finance and facilities meeting at the end of October as well, but we got a little while till we get to that. I do want to talk a little bit about school safety. So the first piece of that is the prosecutor's letter that I provided the board. That was updated last month. It's been posted to the district website. We are drafting a correspondence to make sure that that is viewed by parents of students in the district. That has been a letter that's been revised a couple times over the last couple years, but this version includes the note about the new state law requiring the safe securing of firearms if there's a minor in the house. And so we appreciate the prosecutor adding that. There were also a number of social media threats throughout the state last week. Luckily, nothing that I know of in our area, but again, we are drafting a correspondence to be proactive about that, and we'll include this letter when that goes out. The board has an advanced copy of that. If you have any feedback, please let me know. Last week, we also conducted a school emergency response exercise because part of our EOP is in the scenario that was brought up as part of that exercise. We would be utilizing staff from the Ingham Intermediate School District to come and assist with that. So those team members were present. We also had first responders from 5 different local agencies that participated, and we used Secure Environment Consultants. If you're familiar with them, they did the security assessments and actually have led some other training in the district the last few years. They're very good, and they did a really nice job with the exercise and really testing the knowledge that we have of our own systems. Pleased to report, I think by all accounts we did very well. Obviously, anytime you do an exercise, there's always things that you record to improve upon, and we've got that list, and we've already started making those improvements, but you don't know unless you do the exercise and the drills, and that's, of course, why you practice, right? So we're going to keep pushing forward on that, but I do want to make sure that the board's aware that that took place and was well attended, and I think we did a good job. Moving on then to the bond update, we're going to start with going through some of the financial components, which are actually kind of the main effort right now to get those squared away before the work on the projects, the fun stuff can happen. So I'm going to let Sarah Tynan give you some details on some of the upcoming financial landmarks in that process.
Yeah, so you should all have the schedule of events. We received this from PFM this morning on our call. I do want to point out on the far right-hand side, you'll see that member column. The school is S, so you'll see very little of this actually involves us. A lot of it's happening behind the scenes. But as we go down, so August 26th, as you guys know, we adopted the delegating resolution. Moving a bit further down, September 16th, that's today, we had that conference call with the whole team. We are going to submit our credit package to the rating agency tomorrow, so they are working on that. I did want to point out we are switching rating agencies. We were with Moody's, if you recall, previously, and we're now switching to, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name. It was a S&P.
Yeah, Standards & Poor's.
Something like that. And the reasoning for that is that we've been with Moody's for so long, and we've kind of just been getting these gradual, very small bumps. And they're hopeful that if we go to someone new, at the very minimum, they would match, but hopefully give us a more gracious bump there. So hopefully that goes well. Next week, there will be a conference call with that rating agency. So I believe I will be on that call with PFM and Adam if he chooses. A few more of those items going down is all just between the municipal advisors and the underwriters, until we get down to October 17th, so that's when we get the pricing of the bonds. And then on the 18th, we will be getting that document for Adam or I to sign and send that back to them. And there is one item that didn't make it in here as we made some adjustments this morning, is that we're going to try to squeeze in on October 21st, the Board of Education will adopt the ratification resolution. And that's assuming that this timeline works out okay. So October 17th is a Thursday, that's when we'll get all the information. And in order to have that all prepared and ready to go by Friday and make it into the board packet for that Monday's meeting, we'll just be a little bit tight, so that's why it's not on here, but that will be the goal. And again, just the other parties continue to work through this whole process, and we will hopefully close on all of that November 14th and get those proceeds for our bond. So, any questions on that? Good.
Very exciting.
Yeah, it is very exciting, very exciting.
Some other items, the contracts with French Associates and Chrisman Company are, we're still working through those. The contracts are with the two firms for review. They have a lot, they're very long and with a lot of detail, as they probably should be. Once they have had a chance to review those and put in their comments, that'll be sent back to us. It'll go back to our attorneys for another review. We're anticipating to get that to the board for discussion in October. So we'll keep you appraised of that timeline as we find out more. I also provided you a copy of the bond timeline. This is taken out of the Treasury app from last March, and so it's already changed, but this is the most current. This is the only timeline I have, and so we've put this on the bond website as well if the community is interested in looking at it. Like I said, it's already starting to evolve and change, as it will continue to do over the next 4 years.
What does this say? I can't read it.
Let's see, I don't, well, okay, I do have it. That's renovations.
Renovations,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So the stuff where you can actually see things happening is the yellowish color, the green color, and the red. The brown and blue are kind of like planning and bidding processes. So speaking of that, where we're currently focusing our time as far as the planning process goes, a lot of time has been spent on the tennis courts. That'll be the first, I think, noticeable project that the community will see, and that's scheduled still to take place next summer. The phone system has been also a significant conversation around that. That has become already somewhat complicated given the fact that the bond does not cover the cabling for the new phone system. It covers the phone system itself, but not the infrastructure for that. So there's a study of how E-rate might work. There's a potential Supreme Court case that might change E-rate pricing, and so there's some uncertainty there as well. And then you also just have the logistical complication of trying to rewire our existing buildings, understanding that there's going to be a new school built, and then the circle at Explore is going to be completely gutted. And so we're trying not to duplicate efforts by running cabling and installing a phone system, and then like a year or two later having all that torn out and having to redo it again. So more to follow on the phone system, but that has already become one of those things that has been a little more complicated than we might first have expected. Some other items, lockers for the middle and high school. We're going to start talking about that at our next planning meeting next week. And then some items that we're trying to just do ourselves to save money. So we've already started to push forward on instruments. We have the funding allocation for instruments that's gone out to the band teachers, instruments and equipment. And so we've given them the green light to start shopping for the items that they need. Once we have that, we'll send it out to the 3 vendors, get the pricing, bidding, all those types of things that the board's familiar with. And then I also did a audit of secondary furniture at the middle and high school last week. So we have pretty detailed notes on what's there and what those classrooms may or may not need as far as furniture replacement. Every room is different depending on the building and what's been purchased over the last, 20 years, 25 years. And so there'll be another follow-on meeting about that next week. But my hope is that with desks, chairs, and things like that, we can handle most of that internally, and that saves us from having to pay the fee to our partners with this that would basically be doing the same work that I think we can do on our own. That'll get a little more complicated once we get into things like cabinets and then flooring, and we're still trying to figure that out. I think we had some ideas initially that we might be able to pull flooring off on our own, but that's becoming more and more unlikely as we study that in more detail. So. But for the moment, we're really looking at, like I said, getting new classroom furniture for students and teachers, and we'll continue to push through that internally here over the next many months. That's what we have for the bond update this evening, pending any questions that you might have.
Any questions? I know community members want to see something like right now, but it is good to know that you can go to the website, you can see this timeline, you can see what is happening currently and what will be those first big things that will be happening.
It's also, yeah, I mean, it's worth noting too, right? There's a lot of things, we don't even have the contract signed yet with the partners. We won't have access to the bond proceeds for at least another 10 weeks, if not longer. So what we're trying to do is get the ball rolling on all these initiatives now, so that when those other pieces fall into place, there's already forward momentum. But we also don't want to rush, because if you rush, you make mistakes that cost taxpayer money, and so we want to do it right the first time.
Adam, is there anything similar to this that will be on the website so that?
Yeah, I mean, I think once,
kind of look?
that's exactly what's on there right now.
Okay.
But like I said, it's already somewhat out of date, and we're already trying to push things up. So again, furniture is a good example of that. However, like on the flip side, the phone system, that might get pushed back because it's become so complicated. I'm trying to push on the softball project to get that started next summer, fall. It won't by any means be finished, but maybe we can get part of it done next summer, fall. So I think what will probably happen is as we get more solid answers on what we think that timeline is going to look like, we'll probably have to go in and just build some kind of document that we can update on our own and just keep the community appraised of where things stand as far as when things will get accomplished. But right now, that's all I got, so that's what we've put up on the site for folks to see.
Anything else for Adam? All right, well, if you do have questions or community members, please reach out to Adam. We'd be more than happy to talk about all things bond related, I'm sure. Moving on to board committee reports, just ISOA, we met 2 weeks ago, I believe. Yeah, September 4th. And Jennifer Smith, or Jen Smith from MASP, was there. She's the government relations, and talked about the legislature and how they haven't really met much and don't anticipate meeting much before November. But MASP is still doing behind the scenes at the Capitol. So if you still want to do that, I think that there's still time to register. It's Wednesday. So if you want to do that after this board meeting, you can email and you can be a part of that. There's still going to be a full list of events that will happen even though the legislature is not in session then. She talked a lot about the MIPSers issues and proposed changes on sex education within schools and priority setting for workshops for MASB. Dr. Spina was our superintendent who gave us an update on the roundtable about the early college program, the truancy data, and school safety, of course, which is an ongoing topic whenever they meet, and of course the state budget as well. Any questions on any of that? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to discussion items. Review of overnight state trips, field trips. Any questions?
Pretty much what we see every year. Very similar.
No, it's pretty much the same thing you see every year.
Well, I do think that when we put in place the request form, that has really helped streamline things, so.
Well, I think it's good too, just it solidifies the planning process, right? And make sure you don't miss any steps in that. So it's a good thing, but yeah, nothing out of the ordinary this year.
Okay, so if there is no objection, we will move that to action at our next board meeting, which won't be until October 7th. Good with that?
Good.
Okay, then moving on to action items. Can I have a motion for approval of minutes of the regular scheduled board meeting on August 26, 2024?
Move that the Williamston Board of Education approve the minutes for the regular meeting held on August 26, 2024 as presented.
Second?
Motion by Dave, second by Chris. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We don't have any roll call items, so moving on to separate action items. Do I have a motion to approve emergency operations plan?
Make a motion that the Board of Education approve the 24-25 Williamston Community Schools Emergency Operations Plan.
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Deb. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Can I get a motion for approval of requests for leave for Kimberly Kurth?
Move that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education approve leave for Kimberly Kurth as requested.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Dave, second by Chris. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Can I get a motion for approval request for leave extension for Abigail Jean Charles?
I move that we approve the leave request and support for Abigail Jean Charles.
Second.
Motion by Deb, second by Dave. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Can I get a motion for approval of board policies Title IX revisions, add, revise, replace, remove?
Make a motion that the Williamston Community Schools revise the following policy as presented. 8010 Equal Educational Opportunity 2024 Federal Title IX Regulations.
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Deb. Discussion? So there is some discussion as it relates to Title IX. So this will apply for all Title IX that we have in front of us tonight, whether it's 8010, 5050, or any other that apply. Because these are kind of held up, I guess, in litigation currently right now, the recommendation is that the board has two options. We can approve it and delay implementation so that the courts can work itself out, and that way there isn't a lag between when the courts make their ruling and when we have to have these in place. Or we can just not go forward with these. However, the recommendation is that we have something in place so that we don't have that time where the board has to meet and then we have to approve, you know, all of that stuff. So the recommendation would be to move this forward, but know that they will be on our books, but they won't be implemented until litigation is settled. Adam, do you have anything else
Well,
to add?
yeah, I mean, that would be, that's my recommendation. And I do want to reiterate that this is very confusing and it's quickly evolving. And I had another 30-minute call with our attorney last week to make sure that I understood everything as the latest and greatest version, and I wasn't giving you any incorrect information. But our attorney's recommendation, and it kind of matches the way I was thinking as well, is that those policies, as well as the policies that adjoin the 80-10 series, which would be 50-30, 50-40, and 80-12, because they cite the 80-10 policies, that those are approved, but then essentially put in a holding pattern until the courts work out what they want to do with the 2024 Title IX regulations. What that would allow us to do then is, for Title IX specifically, we would continue to use 50-50, which is based on the 2020 regs. And then we have our own standing anti or non-discrimination policies that have been on the books for quite some time. Those would continue to be enforced and those processes followed as they have been. The advantage to this is, and what her recommendation as well, to make sense, is most likely this will be decided at a certain point, and then there might not be a lot of grace time in between when the decision is made and when you have to go and implement. So by having them on standby, the district can then quickly move forward on adopting those policies if those were what were deemed by the courts to be the new standard. Last piece too, just to make, and I know everybody knows this, but just to go back through it one more time, that the district is not, there's no injunction on the district, all right? The board is free to do anything they want to do or anything they don't want to do with these. It is OCR, Department of Justice, and Department of Education that have the injunction, and it bars them from investigating us or holding us accountable for implementing the 2024 Title IX regulations. There's nothing to do, there's no legal proceedings, restrictions on the Board of Education here in Williamston. That said, that is my recommendation for the 80-10 series, and then, like I said, I would extend that to the policies that connect to it, which are 50-30, 50-40, and 80-12.
That being said, I'd amend my motion to say that the Williamston Community Schools revise and delay implementation of the following policy until the federal court injunction is lifted or further legal actions take place. 80-10 equal educational opportunity, 2024 federal Title IX regulations.
Deb, are you still seconding that motion?
I didn't hear that he was making a motion, but okay, I second it.
He said that he would like to
I amended
amend
my
his
motion.
motion.
I
his
amended
original.
I second.
Okay. Any other further discussion?
Are there any benefits to not moving forward and delaying?
Do you mean like to implement immediately?
No, to just table it entirely.
Oh.
So the only reason we were able to come up with, meaning myself and our attorney on this, was that, again, we don't know how this is going to play out, but there's conceivably the idea that, you know, a given day, the court has a hearing on this, or the injunction's lifted by a higher court, or however that plays out, and then the decision could be made, you know, the next day, the 2024 regs need to be implemented. Well, we might not have a board meeting for, I mean, again, very minuscule chance of this, but, you know, we might not have a board meeting for, you know, a few weeks, and, you know, Murphy's Law, you get a Title IX investigation, and we're still following 2020 regulations, and, you know, again, minuscule chance, but these things happen. So it just shields us from that liability. Now, again, another thing that could happen is the courts throw out both of these processes and come up with something different, and then, you know, in that case, it'll just continue to be a mess, but we wouldn't implement the new protocol, and we just have to figure out what comes next in that process. So I don't know how that's going to play out, but by adopting them and putting them in that holding pattern, it does check a box for one of the potential contingencies.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay. All right, so motion by Chris, second by Deb. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So the same would apply for these next ones. So can I get a motion for approval of Title IX policies to add?
Make a motion that the Williamston Community Schools approve and delay implementation of the following policies until the federal court injunction is lifted or further legal action takes place. 8010A, definitions for 8010A series. 8010B, designation of coordinators. 8010C, supportive measures. 8010D, informal resolution. 8010E, grievance procedure and remedies. 8010F, complaint dismissal and appeals. 8010F1, discrimination, harassment, and retaliation complaint form. 8010F2, notice of non-discrimination. 8010G, additional requirements to prevent and address pregnancy discrimination. And 8010H, training requirements, record keeping, and policy notice.
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Deb. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those that approve?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Can I get a motion for approval of board policies to add?
Motion that the Williamston Community Schools approve addition and delay implementation of the following policies until the federal court injunction is lifted or further legal action takes place. 5040, anti-harassment, and 8012, unlawful discrimination, harassment, and retaliation against students.
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Dave. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Can I get a motion for approval of board policies to replace?
Make a motion that the Williamston Board of Education revise the following policies as presented. 2750 administrative rules, 4450 food service management, and 5050 Title IX sexual harassment policy, 2020 federal Title IX regulations.
Second it.
Is that the right one?
Yes, I'm sorry. I said replace, but I meant revise. So yes.
Okay, sorry.
That was my fault. So motion by Chris, second by Deb. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now may I get a motion for approval of board policies to replace?
I motion that the Williamston Board of Education replace the following policies as presented: 3730 vendor relations and 5030 non-discrimination and equal employment opportunity.
Second.
Motion by Julie, second by Dave. Any discussion? Yes, Adam.
So this is one where I would recommend that it's adopted but not implemented. Another 5030, that is. So the standing version of 5030 would stay intact, and the revised version of 5030 would sit on the sidelines until the coach puts them in,
Okay.
which may or may not happen.
Julie, would
So
you
make a
like-
motion, amend my motion to adopt but not implement until the courts.
So
What was that you
maybe-
said, so that the vote, that the courts, what
And
was?
delay implementation?
Yes.
We'll add that. Okay. So what I'm hearing you would like it to say is you make a motion that the Williamston Board of Education replace and delay implementation.
And delay implementation.
Of the following policies as presented.
Well,
Until the federal.
well, no, it's just, it would just be 5030. 3730 is okay. That's my recommendation again, but
Okay.
Should that be two motions?
Yeah, should we break it in if we're doing separate then?
However you would like the motion.
Can I delay my, can I have Chris do my motion then?
Okay, well, we do have a motion on the table.
Since he
so-
has it on the tip of his tongue, and we would like them
Rescind
all
your
to
motion.
remain the same.
So you can.
Rescind your
you
motion.
may rescind.
I will rescind my motion.
And Dave, you agree?
Yes.
Okay. Can I get a motion for approval of board policies to replace?
Make a motion that the Williamston Community Schools, I gotta look at the wording, replace the following policies: 3730, vendor relations, and replace and delay implementation of the following policy: 5030, non-discrimination and equal employment opportunity, until the federal court injunction is lifted or further legal action takes place.
I second it.
Okay.
I think I got that right.
Motion by
Thank you,
Chris,
Chris.
second by Deb. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I think I'm on. Can I get a motion for approval of removal of board policies?
Make a motion that the Williamston Board of Education remove the following policies as presented: 4450R, food service management regulations; 4470, bidding the food service program; 8453, student wellness policy; and 8453R, student wellness policy regulations.
Second.
Motion by Julie, second by Dave. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you all. We got through that. If you have any questions about any of those, please ask you to reach out to Adam. And of course, he will keep us updated as we get any updates. Review of board goals. We do not have any correspondence. This is the second opportunity for citizens that would like to address the board. Do we have any citizens that would like to address the board? Okay, seeing none, moving on to board member reports and requests. I just have one. We do not have a board meeting until October, so homecoming is coming up on the 26th. The parade is coming up on the 26th. We should be getting information as to where we need to be for our lineup, hopefully in the next week or so. We do have transportation. You can walk beside the vehicle. You can, it's a pickup truck. You can always be in the back as well. We typically have candy. Please do not throw from the vehicle, but you're more than welcome to pass out candy if you are walking by the vehicle. I have to put that disclaimer out there. Adam will also have his separate vehicle as well. Adam, do we know who the Grand Marshal is?
I don't know.
Okay, not yet.
They might know, but
Been disclosed yet.
not to me.
It's a surprise. Okay, we will all be in suspense until we hear more. Anybody else? All right, seeing none, I will take a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Deb. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you all very much. We are adjourned.